I mean, Elizabeth will comment on this, but I would have thought once you've had a sizable donation from one body, you can't keep asking.
Yeah.
So you have to be quite creative about like having the strategy of when you go out and sort of ask. I don't know. I mean, Sharon, you ticket your event, don't you? I mean,
Yes.
Brighton isn't ticketed. Quite a lot of the events you're involved with aren't ticketed. So
It doesn't make huge amounts, but it definitely brought in a lot. And I think it's the balance between making it accessible, so you don't overcharge, and then, but being realistic that you need to get some money in if you're going to sustain it.
I think, but also, from what I can see, it's a balance of where you're putting your money. Are you putting it in because you want to pay in your actors, or do you have a lot of very good professional amateur actors? It's where you're putting your money and how you're funding it. I mean, the reason these passion plays work is because the pie is very small of the paid-in areas, and it's often in the technical or professional expertise, but everything else tends to, and normally you have a tentpole professional probably in every area. Just a tentpole, even if it's 4 or 5 tentpoles throughout the whole process, you have those in. Even if it's actors, you could do it. I think York had like 1,000 cast and 2 professional actors. I mean, it is possible. So I think it's to do with what your mix and your menu is going to be. But sustainability, I guess it's the appetite for your first play and how it goes, and then how. I don't think you can say, here's a model, let's put it in. I was talking to somebody at lunchtime about this. I think it comes from what's birthing within your group, and even if it's a studio shot on a tiny a stage which is under the forest trees, that's where your passion play starts. That could be it. That's where everybody starts going under the trees to that tiny studio space. It might be that. It might not be this big arena space.
I was going to just add you that I think if it's a festival, surely the council, or the equivalent in Canada, I'm not sure what they would provide you a certain amount of finance to run the festival, and how much they would allocate for doing this as a new element to the festival. I think from that, whatever that pot is, or that grant amount, I think that is where you start then applying to foundations and individuals, is what I would suggest.
I have a real bugbear about T-shirt sales.
Yeah.
I just don't trust them at all. When I'm putting a budget together, I never include it. It's always this thing people talk about and the great hopes of what we'll achieve, by selling them. And I've never ever seen enough sales to match what was hoped for.
They're like a distraction. It's quite difficult to get that out to other people, isn't it? T-shirts and things. It's not going to be.
I think it's a distraction. You can't sort of sell them while the passion play is happening. Everybody's focused on that. If it's in one specific area, like say it's not the passion play, or it's stationary, or you're going to be in more like the Wintershall thing, then you've got like a lunch break where people can go off and perhaps have a look and browse. But I think in the whole street, you're so caught up in the action, or you're hoping your audience will be, actually, that you don't want to be prodded on the back, you want to buy a T-shirt.
But I mean, again, it's the West End model, isn't it? Is that they make huge amounts on merchandising at the box office when people come in.
A huge amount on bar. It's often when you're commissioning a new play, the theatre will commission the interval, because that's where you get your money. You want your people to be thirsty halfway through and to come and eat and drink. And at Wintershall, this is an estate in Surrey who puts on productions, and they've grown from a barn with hay bales, and now they're putting on plays in Trafalgar Square. But they do every year they do a Christmas production, which is a ticketed event, 600 people per performance. We do 10 performances, and the tickets are between 10 and 15 pounds. Yeah, I think it's 10 for children or something like that. So a proper amount. And
is that a taster to the main event?
Everyone who comes knows that they are contributing to everything that Wintershall stands for and does. They know that we put on lots of different productions throughout the year. They know that this is. There's also a big summer production which is so huge it just about breaks even. Really, it's not really a money maker. Anything we do make over actually goes to a charity. But really, it's the Christmas one that has got low overheads and makes a bit of revenue that we can always bank on
But the summer one's better for buying merchandise because when you're in the freezing
Yeah.
cold and you're going up and watching
It's 6
the
hours
Yosemite
long.
on the top of the
you
hill.
know,
It's like, whereas the 6 hour one in the summer, you've
Yeah.
got a break and you can go and buy
That's
a t-shirt
right.
when you're boiling. Or
Yeah. What Winchell hasn't done, which I think, okay, it's perfectly right because they've recognised what they're capable and what they're not doing, is they've always brought in outside caterers to provide food and what have you. If Winchell had owned
Yeah.
the catering, they would have made a lot of money on that. But they've just decided a long time ago, no, actually, we don't want to be bothered with that. We're not looking to make a huge amount of money. We just want it to be sustained. Let somebody else worry about the hamburgers and what have you.
And there are
I'm aware-
sponsorship opportunities, sorry, I was just going to say, through the brochure. So, for example, the local baker that makes the bread for the feeding of 5,000 or whatever, like, you know, contra deals and ads and sponsors and those sorts of opportunities. But that is a fixed sort of 6 hour production, if you like, rather than a passion play.